This is James Gardner, June 17th, 1980, and I'm here this evening. Would you give me some information on your family background? For example, where were you born? Where were your parents born? And when did you come to Muncie?
I was born in a little town called Canton, Kentucky, in June 15, 1900. So my mother always told me. And I had no brothers, no sisters. My father died when I was 9 months old, so my mother says. I don't know anything, can't remember anything about my father. And I just come along in this troublesome world, mostly just alone.
What about your mother?
My mother, she was passed quite a few years ago, and had left me alone. But up until then, it was just my mother and I.
Where was your mother born?
In Kentucky. She was a Kentucky, in the same little town. And then when the year of 16, I got tired of those farms and whatnot, tobacco patches. I started to roaming. I came to Illinois and stayed a year. And from Illinois to Cleveland, Ohio, and stayed another year. Till 1918, June, I came here to Muncie. Coming here on one night, went to work at the Muncie Fountain Machine Company the next night and got my arm broke. So I stayed here whether I wanted to or not. I'm kind of a broken arm. And I guess I must have got attached to this, excuse me, this Muncie water, because I've been in and out of here ever since.
How did you travel from Kentucky to Illinois to Ohio?
By train. Yeah, that's the way I traveled, by train in that day.
Did you buy tickets to travel all these places? Or?
Well, no, I didn't, because I was getting sold up to be sent to the Army. And I was just going from one place to the other, following the restoration group that Dr. Sam was getting lined up for World War I.
Okay. Did your mother ever tell you any stories about your father? Is there anything important in your father's background?
No, not that would mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Was your father a slave?
No, but my grandfather was. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was a slave, but not my father.
Did your mother ever tell you any stories about that?
Oh, yes, I've had a lot of bedtime stories about the slavery back in my grandfather's days.
Could you relay one to me?
Right one to you, which I think would be kind of laughable to you.
Okay.
My grandfather, he was a kind of small boy, and when the South was going to taking over farms and property, just everything that they wanted, they were going to taking everything, and the old master, as they call him, or master, or whatever you want to call him, had a saddlebag of money, and some precious silver and that kind of stuff, and it all bagged up. And whenever the alarm would come through that the Yankees was coming, why, they put him on some couple of nice horses that they had, that they kept out of the way, because the Yankees would have took those too. So he'd send him back out in the woods in a special place where they had hid. So the Yankees was come through, and they kind of tricked them. One bunch came through, and they thought they was all gone. And when they had blowed the horn for him to come back to his house, to the house with all this money and silver and stuff in his saddlebag, and by the time he got out halfway between his hiding place and the house, here come another bunch. And his old master come out, him and his wife, and there's a hoop and a horn, go back, go back, go back, and then jumping up and down hard, go back. And he had fell in mind, he'd taken the saddlebags and threw them out in the weeds. And when he got back to the house, and the old master was a-crying, him and the old lady thought all this gold, all that money, all that silver and stuff was gone. They thought the Yankees had it. And he was running around telling them, oh, master, they didn't get the money, they didn't get the money. He said, well, where is the money? He says, I got it here back there. He says he got for his reward, instead of eating cornbread and fat meat, they gave him some biscuits for his reward. So he used to tell me stories like that didn't have too much meaning, but you had to still do something. I told him, well, Granddad, I think I let that money stay here and went back and got it. He said, no, you wouldn't. But being raised like I was, you done just like I did. And that's true. Because he didn't know nothing else but just do what his master said do. Well, that's just a little comical story that is true. But just tell you how we had come along, things that we had to endure in our lifetime.
What about your mother? When you moved here, did you communicate with her?
Yes, my grandfather then at that time had moved to southern Illinois. Mm-hmm. And since she couldn't keep up with me, she went on in southern Illinois and stayed with her daddy. And that's where she was while I was out rambling around.
Mm-hmm. So did you all write or what?
Oh, yes, we kept in close contact. And so I got up, grown, stopped running around, got married. Mm-hmm. And she came to me here to Muncie and stayed in Muncie here until she died.
How did she travel up here to Muncie?
By train. Yeah, come on.
Where did you live in Muncie when you first came here?
Well, when I first came to Muncie, I came to Willow Street at a boarding house. Mm-hmm. I had just came in here with another boyfriend, and he and I were traveling together. And he knew this fellow that run the boarding house. So we stayed there, and that's where I stopped back when I came to Muncie.
Was your running buddy, was he black?
Oh, yes.
The boarding house where you rented from, was it owned by black?
Yes.
Do you remember the name?
Mr. Henry Williams. He ran the house out on East Willow Street.
And how long did you stay in this house?
Oh, maybe about 8 or 10 months.
What was the conditions of the house?
It was very, very, very decent for his having a bunch of boaters. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of boaters that come in here that work at this foundry. Muncie Foundry Machine Company then was making parts for service, for airplanes, motors, and that kind of stuff. So they worked at the foundry and boated at this.
Mm-hmm. Did the boarding house, did it have running water, lights?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Utilities.
Mm-hmm. You and your running buddy, you all stayed there together?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And from there, where did you move to?
Well, after I got tired and married, then I stayed with another kind of distant relation. Mm-hmm. I stayed with I got a room with her and lived with her for some time.
Mm-hmm. When did you get married?
1918.
Okay, where did this distant relative of yours stay that you all stayed with for some time?
On East Willow Street, about
do you remember her name?
Yes, her name was Barnum. My husband was yellow then. Barnum.
And what was the conditions of that home that you lived in?
Oh, it was a very nice home. What we called it in those days, we called that a modern home.
Mm-hmm. And you were working at this time?
Yeah, working at that foundry where I got my arm broke. After I got able to go back to work.
And what kind of wages were you making?
Oh, I don't really recall the wages that I make, but it was, I guess about $1 an hour or something like that was the wages, because I was working in kind of a particular spot on a cubicle where it melted the steel. And I think about $1 an hour I got for the work that I was doing.
Okay. How long did you and your wife stay at the relative's house, at your relative's house before moving?
Oh, we stayed there about 2 years, I suppose.
And you bought?
And then I rented a house. We lived in rental property.
Where was that home located?
On the Kirby Avenue.
And how long did you stay there?
And stayed there until we decided then to disagree. And that broke up our housekeeping. She went back to people in Gary, and I stayed there.
And what year was that?
From 1878, about 25.
And you were still working at the foundry at this time?
No, I was driving a coal truck at that time, hauling coal for a coal company, delivering coal over the city.
When you first got married, when you were rooming with your relative, what type of community was that? What was the community like?
Well, I guess the only answer I know to give you is a decent community, because everybody there was just decent everyday people. They didn't have no roughnecks and junk stuff like we have today.
Were there? Was it an integrated community?
Yeah, they were both right in down Willow Street at that time. Willow Street. Well, in fact, the biggest majority of it was white people. Yeah, up and down Willow Street. Up and down Willow Street was most of the white people. Colored that just began to come in. Family here, family there. Of course, now you know what happened when that happened. When one or two spots come in, and they're going to get out of the way and get away from it, and they're coming out. And so now, you just let them took Willow Street over completely.
And where were most of the black people working at during that time?
Well, at the Ball Brothers Manufacturing Company. The Ball Brothers was the leading manufacturer in Muncie at that time. And the majority of the people worked at the Ball Brothers Manufacturing Company. And then we had another 2 or 3 others. There was the wire mill, in Indiana wire mill. Quite a few colored people worked there. And the Broadrick spoiler shop, there's quite a few colored people worked there. And what was called the Whiteland Malibu, which was a foundry, it was over on the north side of town. A whole bunch of colored people worked out there. So it was just kind of scattered all over the place.
Were there any black businesses when you first got to Muncie?
Not that you would pay attention to, but 1 or 2 little barber shops scattered around, and 1 or 2 cleaning, pressing shops and something like that. But just say what you would call a regular colored business. I didn't consider that a real colored business.
Do you remember the names of any of the barber shops?
James Robinson was one. He was about meeting all around at that time. And, another boy, I can't think of his name right now.
Was there a particular year that you started to see more black businesses coming into existence in Muncie?
No, but there's not too many now.
What was the, as you can remember, what was the first business that really large business on a large scale that came into existence here in Muncie? First black business. Is there one that you can remember?
I don't know what you would call a regular business. Black business.
Like a YMCA or something?
Well, like a funeral home, maybe that was a funeral.
Taylor Funeral Home.
Well,
Johnson.
Johnson.
Johnson's Funeral Home.
Yeah, Reverend Johnson funeral.
Johnson.
Yeah, he was one of the leading undertakers among colored and white, because a lot of the white undertakers would get him to do that embalming.
And why was that so?
Well, he was just outstanding, and when he embalmed the person, they could keep him for days without any trouble. He was known as, I guess, one of the best embalmers there was in the state of Indiana.
Do you know if he ever received any type of awards for his embalming techniques?
No, I don't recall.
Do you know if his particular method of embalming was it a highly kept secret? Or?
Yes, he had another young man that he liked to trade, but he didn't stay around, and he kept it to himself. And he went to Indianapolis a while, and the last time I heard him, he was in Detroit, Michigan, and I don't know where he's at now. But he learned him that trade, and I don't know where he went with it.
Do you remember his name?
Richard Taylor.
Okay. After you and your wife had split up, what did you do then?
Stayed out of the hall, delivered coal around over town, and then found another lady, married, stayed together another 7 years, disagreed again.
And where did you live at with your second wife?
On Macedonia Avenue.
What was the conditions of the home that you lived in?
Well, it wasn't exactly modern. It was just a regular, what you might call an everyday home. We had water in the house, but we didn't have a bath and toilet and that in the house. It was just water.
Do you remember her name? Your second wife?
Yeah, I don't remember. It doesn't much trouble with it. Her name was Willie Mae. First wife was named Lily, and the second one was named Willie. And we didn't get along well.
What year did you marry your second wife?
I guess about 25, 26, something.
What was the condition? What was the town of Muncie like during that year, as far as for blacks?
Well, it wasn't, I guess, long about that time. It just wasn't too good because Ku Klux was kind of messing around here, started raising confusion, pushing the colored people back and all that kind of junk. It was a little difficult along in that time.
Do you remember any particular incident in your life that you maybe witnessed the Ku Klux doing or heard of them doing?
When it be on the street and they come through, you were supposed to jump off the side of the road and pull off your hat and stand there silent while they pass and all that kind of jump.
And did black people obey this?
Some of them did, and some of them did.
Do you remember anyone who didn't?
Not by name, no, not by name. I just knew that they didn't do it. Some of them didn't do it. I don't recall their names.
And who instituted this type of behavior that had to be carried on while the Ku Klux Klan passed? Was this a state law or a city law?
I guess that when the city gave them permission to do it, I guess, because they raised up and down the street when they got ready.
Mm-hmm.
So the city was given permission to do it.
Was it
Until we come up to, I forget the year now, they got a new mayor by the name of George Dale. And he put the thing and stopped all that stuff.
Was it just blacks who had to stand at attention and take their hats off?
No, they get back. They get back at the whites. They didn't recognize them. They just thought you just had to have that all red blood. You didn't have no business around all that mess. But that went on until they got a new mayor, name of George Dale. He broke that mess up. And that got away with the Ku Klux in several months. They're trying to kind of get around in the corners and kind of stir it up again, so I understand, but I'm not part of that.
What about your wives? Did any of your wives work during that day? Your first or second wife?
Oh, yeah, the whole housemaid job.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the families that they were with? Mm-hmm. Together, was her income and yours enough to live a comfortable life?
Well, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. Where did you buy your food from?
We had independent groceries in over town. We used to have groceries in the grocery store.
Were there any?
No color.
Mm-hmm. Were there any?
It's a little one color.
We didn't trade with them.
No, yeah, like that parrots.
Parrot?
Uh-huh.
Was there any particular reason why you didn't trade with them?
Well, he's just on the other side of town. I didn't go over there.
Uh-huh. How did black people get around during that time?
Well, a lot of them started out with what they call jitneys. People had little old cars around, haul people around. Mm-hmm. And from that, then the street cars. And from that, then to they own, from that to the transportation. Just bank step for step. And I guess that brings me up to 34.
34?
Mm-hmm. This young lady here, they've been together ever since. Which is about 44 years.
Something like that.
So it took me maybe the third time had the job.
Okay. What about, okay, let's just step back a little bit. What about during the 20s? What did you do, what did black people do for entertainment? Were there any clubs?
Yeah, they had one or two clubs down there, but I never did.
Mm-hmm.
I had an eyes together, so I had
Along the YMCA.
nothing I can tell about them, and Rooster Tooth and all that kind of junk. Clubs, I didn't go to.
Were you ever involved in the YMCA?
Mm-hmm, yes, I was involved in the YMCA when it was organized.
Oh, yeah? Were you one of the founding fathers of the Black YMCA? Could you give me just a brief history on that?
Well, there's not much to it. It was got one here. My name was Frank Baker.
Mm-hmm.
That got the organization started. And then we meet just where we could meet, house or any place. And it actually grew up to be where it is now.
Do you remember the year it was officially?
No, I don't.
Was it in the 20s or 30s?
Back in the, back in the 20s, early 20s.
Okay. What type of activities did you all set up, or did you all have?
Well, I had baseball team. Just get around and just just get around, organize, and get together, and just have what you have. Just all of the communication, I guess. But our ball team was that's what we debated on, like, all the bats, and the balls, and the gloves, and how to get money to buy up that kind of stuff. That was the biggest thing.
And now, exactly where did the money come from to finance all of this?
The membership, they we had a little what, mile and a half or something like that, and then different ones would donate. What you might say, we'd give a boy a membership, and then somebody else would give a boy a membership, and just organize, grow like that.
Mm-hmm. Was this
At a very small scale.
when it grew? Was it when it started? Was it an exclusively black organization?
Oh yes, I was at that time.
And the ball clubs, with that?
Oh yes, we were all segregated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you remember any other individuals other than yourself and Frank Baker who helped to?
Yeah, one was Charles Booyer.
That last name again?
Charles Booyer.
B-O-O-H-E-R.
B.
B-O-O-H-E-R. Dr. Wayne Brooks was here.
And Dr. Wayne Brooks. He was a dentist too. He was a colored dentist.
Can you remember the year that Dr. Brooks came to Muncie?
He was the one when I came.
Was he practicing then?
Then
Okay.
on Walnut Street.
Okay, was there anyone else?
That's all registered with me right now.
Luther Rich in the bunch with you?
Yeah,
Luther Rich.
Luther Rip.
That last name?
Rip.
R-I-F-F-E.
Do you know whether any of these individuals are still living?
Yes, and Charles Booyer is living now.
Is he in Muncie?
Yes, he's retired mail carrier.
I
don't know where that is.
Okay, he was a mail carrier. What year do you remember when he used to carry mail?
Yeah, back in the 20s and 30s. I don't know, I would guess about the 30s and 40s. Charles was mail carrier.
Do you remember anyone else who carried mail?
Yes, there's, what is Chubby Evans' right name? Evans, we called him Chubby. He was a mail carrier, but his name was Evans.
Okay.
I don't know that first name, I don't know his address. He was a mail carrier.
Okay.
And,
Charles Brewer lives on the corner of 8th and E Drive.
Okay.
Or is it 9th and E Drive?
9th and
9th and E Drive.
And one of the police, John Miller, he was a colored policeman. He belonged to it. And Donald McAllister, he was a colored policeman. Back in that period. And then come on up until they begin to get into the basketball teams and the school.
Police force in the 30s. Okay. Can you remember anyone else right off the top of your head?
What's Sims' name? You're not on 8th Street. Is his name Walter Sims?
They're on 8th Street.
Yeah, Mary.
I know who you're talking about, it was a policeman.
Mary Sims' husband.
Okay, Sims, okay. I think I have that name already.
But he was a policeman back then.
Okay.
Every time there wasn't a police back in there.
Well, he come on later.
Okay, what about the moving into the 30s? Was there any other group other than the YMCA that helped blacks here in Muncie during that time?
The Fraternal Organization of Odd Folks was a strong fraternal feature in Muncie in them days.
Can you remember? Do you remember any of the particular activities that they had?
Well, that's just a benevolent organization, but and at certain times of the year, like holidays, they would give donations to the widows and orphans and those kind of things.
Do you remember the year it came into being?
Oh my goodness. We had that going here the other day. Well, it was back in 1890.
1890.
Do you remember any of the names of people who you may have heard started that organization?
Well, let's see. Those names is kind of staggering. John Henry Jones, Charlie Peel, Charlie.
What about Mr. Keith?
Dan Keith, men way back there. Eugene Lewis,
Do you know if any of these individuals are still living?
No, I don't think
they're all of them gone. Of that group.
You wouldn't happen to have a picture of the YMCA group back in those days?
No, I don't know.
Was there any other organizations that?
Well, there was other organizations around town here, but I didn't take no part in them, so I really didn't give you no information about them. Which is the Elks. They belong to the Odd Folks. But they're like the Elks and hippies and that. Those
What about the Masons?
And the Masons. I never did join the Masons either. They're still in town, but I don't know about them. So I didn't join. But I received my 50-year pin of the Odd Folks.
Oh, you did? Do you have that pen with you?
It's in there on my coat.
Oh, you want to see it?
Yeah. Do you think maybe we could look at it?
She'll find it. Yeah, I don't get it.
By that.
All right.
Okay, you were Grand Master
I
of
was Grand Master of the District Grand Lodge number 22 of the state of Indiana for 11 years.
And what year did that run from?
Well, from 50 to 11 years life.
Right, 60.
Oh, funny. Yes, I'm Grand Master of the state of Indiana for 11 years.
What the heck did they never did? I guess it's over there.
Oh, yes, it's here, yes.
Okay. The certificate on the wall up here, what does that
I was the
represent?
Lieutenant Colonel of the Patriots in the state of Indiana. At one of them. State of Indiana, Michigan, Dominion of China.
Did I touch something?
Michigan.
Here he is, he's here where he started out in 1951 to 1962. He was Grand Master then. And then he was off a year, and then he come back in here again. From 1964 to 1966.
Oh. Do you know if these individuals here, T.A. Evans, were they black or?
Yeah, they're all black.
Oh.
They're all
It's a
black.
black organization.
They're all of them are black. All the Grand Masters here
And
are black.
this gives you the history.
The Indiana Grand Lodge number 22.
Okay. Do you think I could take this book with me and bring it back to you tomorrow or the next day?
Mm-hmm.
Or either I could.
Yeah, you can take it.
Because I got 2 of the others.
Yeah.
Okay, good then. Oh, great. This is exactly what we've been
That's all, that's all black.
Oh, good. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Are you the first one from the city of Muncie to serve as Grand Master? Do you know?
Yes, you are.
You are? Oh, well, that's some achievement then. Okay, now continue to tell me about this on the wall here.
Well, that is one of the what you get when you become. I know you've seen our fellows after they get the degrees and you see paid off with them white fellows on their heads and them swords hanging on and all over the regalia. And then that's in Virginia. I met in Israel, Virginia. So when I was the Grand Master of the state, I met up with a whole bunch of Virginians. All down in the east, all south. And you had a district the National Grand Lodge met in Gary. They was here from Europe, Asia, and Africa. Because that's the Grand United Order of Odd Fellows. It's a united order. It's not like the white Odd Fellows, because they are the independent order of Odd Fellows.
Here, I want to show you this. That's what he's trying to say. That is up there.
And when was that particular picture taken?
Right after we married.
So that was in 1935.
No. That was about 1935.
Well, that's what he said.
1935. Okay. What about this picture here?
Oh, that's one of his cousins.
Oh, okay. Do you think once we finish, we're going to look at the pictures, and do you think I'll be able to take those pictures with me and have them also copied and bring them back to you on tomorrow? Or either I could just have them.
There'd be some of them that you could take.
Yeah, I can get one out there for you.
Okay, then, fine. Okay. Well, okay. Now, when did you receive this award here?
Let's debate on it, honey. Because my memory is not too good to hit with that stroke. You don't function like it used to.
I can't see the last figure. It was 1930. Maybe your eyes are better than mine.
Okay, then. Well, let me.
1930 something.
So we were talking. We were getting ready to finish up talking about the certificate on the wall. Okay.
Well, that's what I wanted to, because that was to show the office that I held,
Mhm.
because I was just one man from the very top
Mhm.
in that branch of the organization. Because I was the colonel, and I could have made one more step and been the colonel, and that would have been the top. That's what I would say.
Okay. So you didn't take up part in any other organizations in the
No,
community?
just the church.
Okay. Tell me about your church experience.
Well,
As far as you becoming your deacon award was awarded to you in 1940, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So just give me a brief background.
Well, I'm still a deacon. Still a deacon. I'm now the senior deacon of the board of our church, the Calvary Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm. And did the church take any type of role in helping the community back in the late 20s, early 30s? What was the role of the church in the community?
Well, just regular church activities.
Mm-hmm.
We got the best way I can see on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure you had some church activities and following along in.
Mm-hmm.
You know a little something else about church activities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's unusual.
Okay. Other than the organizations, were there any individuals in the community who displayed a leading role in the advancement of the black community? Was it any single people?
Well, we had one fellow that was good at that, because he's passed. His name was Thomas Phillips. He was very active, and since work is at, he passed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly what did Mr. Phillips do? First of all, what was his occupation?
Well, he was mostly mixed up in politics.
Mm-hmm.
And then mostly, he really gave his time to
Mm-hmm.
politics and trying to get the young people in various jobs and such as that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess he carried pretty good weight with the city officials.
Was there anyone else? Any other persons?
No, I don't know.
What about the role of the ministers?
Well,
were they your regular ministers? I mean,
we've had all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
But back when I started under what I always felt was an ideal minister.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend W.Z. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And when he walked down the streets of Muncie, he always dressed the part and looked the part, and even the white dignitaries of town would always recognize him as Dr. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
But after him, we've had all kinds. Big, little, and medium size. A little other thing that kind of happened that I had a part in the Ball State Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
When we see it now, I can recall there was just a cornfield, hay field, no houses,
Mm-hmm.
and I hauled the pipe that put in the water system of that organization when it was first started. I hauled all the water pipe to put in the water system in that building.
And what year was that?
I really can't tell you.
Was it in 20s, 30s?
I think it was back in the late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was hauling all those pipes. Big cast iron pipe, 6-inch pipe, put on out there, put them in the water system. State hospital.
Was there any other experience in life that you have that stands out?
Oh, I don't know if it would be. Anything else I did would be considered outstanding.
What about you? About your family? How many kids did you have?
Well, I didn't have any. My wife had 4. There were 4 stepchildren. Up to them, I married her when they were all real small.
And where did you all live?
In Macedonia.
Oh, Macedonia, okay.
And I raised those 4 children, put them through school. And right now, they all handle me just like I was their own father. And I appreciate that. And 3 of them's gone. The daughter, she was in Massachusetts. She was a receptionist to a dentist. And my older boy, he was the manager of the service department there in California. And my younger boy, he was in an accident in Massachusetts. He never did get over it. And the other boy, he's in town. He's deputy sheriff in Muncie, Middletown County Sheriff, and he's also plant guard at the Chevrolet manufacturing company.
And what's his name?
His name is Earl. Maybe adopting, change the names. Raise them. Most of the young people in their class around town now call me by that same name. They don't call me by my name.
Oh, yeah?
The kids all, the way that they use me, they just all seem to think that I was their own father. And they, that's the name they call me. And I just say, take it, accept it, and go ahead.
What about the years of the Depression? Could you give me a...
Yes, I was fortunate that I had a job all through the Depression. And I was still working in this coal business, living in coal. And I've had to go to homes, white homes, and go in and build a fire and get the house warm before they could even get out of the bed. Yeah. So around the commissary where food was issued, I always had to go there and collect all the trustees, the money from the trustees, to pay for the coal that was delivered around from different families in town. So I was responsible for the coal company that I worked for. They had letters signed to me, even with all the orders that were taken out, go to the trustees at the commissary and collect the money and turn it in. And then just that was my job during the whole Depression. And I got caught as usual. There's some our friends who had some children, and I stood for their cause. If I ever get a job, I will see if you the first man that I saved. Kept me, keep my along, and that. And when the Depression was over, they got jobs, and we'd be going down the street, If they see me, they, somehow or another, they have business on the other side of the street. And I said, well, I'll never ask them for it. Of course, they know they owe it. And if they never feel like they want to pay it, I'll never ask them for it. So a lot of them going on out, see the bed beyond, and never do pay me. And I'm quite sure they won't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was fortunate during the depression, all through the depression, I had a job.
What about during the years of the Depression? What did people do to entertain themselves?
Well, it is something a little bit unexplainable because people were distressed, and they were hungry, and the families were in distress, and you know, a whole group of people like that. It's kind of unexpressible. Because they just, nobody's satisfied, nobody willing to settle down to anything, and it's just very, very disagreeable. It's kind of a bad thing. And you see people going around with an old piece of baby buggy with apples in it trying to sell apples. All that kind of stuff.
Were there a lot of, did you see a lot of people suffering from hunger?
Oh, that's right. That's one phase that they went through. One, they was all in the same boat. No classification there. They were both white and colored.
Was there a lot of crime during that time?
You'd
lot
be
of
surprised,
stealing?
not as much as they are now. Not as much as they are now.
What did people do to get away from all of the problems they were having? Was the church the main outlet?
The church was about the main thing to look to. And that's the depression. If anything will run you to God, the depression will. And we have more people than serving the Lord than I guess ever have sense of before. So during the depression, it was good. And to go into a home and see little bit of hunger, not need, always past, always give. We had a few cases where the fathers got desperate and went in taking some things, of course. Naturally, he put on the stealing, of course. That's the biggest problem, that kind of stuff we had. But it's not like it is now. They're just doing it now for pastime.
That's true. Do you have any knowledge of what the educational quality was like then for the kids going to school?
Well, just all this, they wasn't going to college, but it was all grade schools. How much everything, they all went to school. They had no trouble going to school, but they never did. And the schools kind of went out, and the trustees issued the school something other than whether if you kind of feed the little fellow, that kind of thing. It was kind of broke the ice as far as the stress is concerned.
What about the relationship among black people at that time? Were black people closer to one another? during the years of the Depression?
Well, yes, yes. They seem to realize the need of each other through that depression. And in fact, that was true. They did need each other. They finally seem to have brought them together to the point where they realize the need of each other.
What about the relationship between black and white people?
Well, that broke down too. That, a lot of white people didn't become friends with go in up until then. When they seen that you got a piece of bread to live in or something, that'll break the other part down. You get hungry. And wherever it comes from, wherever it is good. So that broke a lot of that down too. And that's when colored people then, when that broke, when the Depression broke, and colored people began to branch out into these different sections of town. They had been segregated up until that time. And now it's just what you see for yourself. Now there are colored people all the time. They eventually started following the Depression.
Was there any place in town before the Depression, that colored people weren't allowed to go?
Shows and restaurants and all those things. Don't try to go.
There was a section of town that I've heard was called Shed Town. Do you know anything about it?
No, yeah.
Do you know why it has the name Shed Town?
Well, it's mostly the group is from the deep south. They congregated out there. And they just didn't want no part of no colored person other than that section. Well, they give it that name of Shed Town. That means you were shed from out in that section. Don't go there. Because they didn't want you out there, and they didn't let you come out there. In that section. And it's kind of critical in that section of town now. They haven't altogether overcome that now.
Okay, were there a lot of mixed relationships during that time, black and white?
No, they hadn't really got started off on that at that time.
Do you know any of you, do you know anyone who did date a white woman, or a white woman, black woman dated a white man?
Back in that time? No, I don't. They didn't, they stayed apart until later on.
Now it's bad here.
Now it's rough.
Do you remember any particular experience involving white people that you've had that stands out in your mind?
Oh, yes, there's quite a few things that's happened to me that I consider worth thinking about. For one case, we kind of enjoy it. We lived on Macedon Avenue and lived right in the middle of two white families. And on one side of it, white family, was Ku Klux, and we didn't know it. And she was a great lover of beer, the white. And I had taken sick at that time. And my doctor told me, says, if you would drink a bottle of beer a day, get that yeast and stuff into your stomach, it'd be good for you. Drink 2 bottles of beer a day. I go to work and get a case of beer, because I never did like beer. I got a case of beer. And I think I drank 1 bottle out of that case. And I give this case of beer to this old white lady. This was a Ku Klux, and we didn't know it. She had all this good free beer there, and she got all full of this beer, and she told everything.
Oh, yeah.
And took them sheets that they wore and hid their face and things with. brought all them sheets and things over and give them to my mother for her to make pillow slip sheets, whatever she wanted to do. So I said, well, that's one good thing. This kind of stood out in my memory as to how she broke down over a drink of beer, a bottle of beer.
What year was doing it? Was that the 30s?
That was about 36, I think it was. Yeah,
Since you've not been married.
Always kind of seemed kind of funny to me.
She was a good neighbor too.
Yeah, after
Our oldest boy, no, not the second boy. He carried her cold stuff in every night. He'd make little pies for him. She wouldn't paint, but she'd make a little pies for her, Richard. That's his picture there, right behind it, in the sheriff's thing.
Is there anything that you feel that blacks have done as a group that has been good for the whole community since you've been here?
Well, to specify one particular group, I don't know exactly.
As a whole, the whole black community, is there one thing that everyone maybe have pitched in and taken a part in doing that has really improved?
That's what's got my mind confused. I don't quite pick it out. Because you've got a group here and a group there and a bunch here and a bunch there. And I don't pick out anything that I would say was just community-minded in general as a whole. I don't quite get it together.
To back up a little bit, were there any bootleggers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we were getting ready to talk about the bootleggers doing back in Prohibition time, and you were saying that they used to haul it in from Ohio.
The main source that they haul it in from Ohio. They go out at night on these back roads. Bootlegging at night time, and some of them was bold enough to go out in the daytime. They knew all these back roads and ways to get in and out, and they bring it in the daytime. Take that stuff out, and then what we call, they had in this part of town they call the red light district. That's where we go in and get rid of.
Were blacks allowed to go into the
yeah, they blacks, mostly that was a black part of town. That's one part of town that the police didn't bother them because they just let them do whatever they want to do down there in red light. So that way they wouldn't be bothered with them in the other parts of town. We had one bootlegger. I don't know what the name put on him. He was a bootlegger and he was a thief. He was everything, the right thing. He went out east of town here on a farmer's farm and killed a man's horse. The man caught up with him and had him arrested. And made him pay for this horse. He turns around and sues this man and makes this man pay him for dressing his horse right. so you know by that he was a character.
He was. Were there any other black bootleggers that you could call by name during that time?
No, I wouldn't name any of them. They were scattered all over the place. Yeah, but I wouldn't be naming.
That was one of them, just like here, he was one of them.
Yep, a special. He was a specialist. But he did, now we named him.
And Ed Allen, Ed Malcolm and Ed Allen, I know them too.
I'm not too keen on naming them guys.
Okay, you don't have to name this particular individual, but I just want to ask you a yes or no question. Is there any of the bootleggers, is there anyone in town now who bootlegged back in those days, let's say the 30s, and who's still living and still bootlegging today?
No,
That you
I
know
don't know about them. Now, since it's open now, you go anywhere you want and get what you want. I don't know if any bootleggers.
Did these bootleggers, did they also run prostitute houses?
Oh, yeah, down in that section of town, they had the red shades, red blinds in the windows, so you know where to stop.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, red light district it was a killer. I didn't like to go through there in the daytime. I was less at night.
Was that a real rough section of town?
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to tell me from the type of question that I've asked you that maybe you think would be important to our project, to our research work?
Well, I haven't thought enough to give you an answer to that. I've had several invitations to get into that project out to college, but I never did it. I never took any part in it. But I didn't feel that I was qualified to keep up with all them college students and doctors and whatnot, and I wouldn't get in.
If you had to live your life all over again, is there anything that you would do a little differently?
I wouldn't have married them first 2 times. That might be it.
Okay. Well, this concludes my interview, and I want to thank you for all the information that you've given me. I'm sure that it will help us greatly. This has been James Gardner on Wednesday, June 17th, 1980. Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Great-grandmother Miss Betty, who was 106 at the time of her death, was born in slavery in Kentucky. She died here in Muncie at 11:45 a.m. at the home of her daughter, Miss Hetty, at 1106 East 2nd Street. The year of her death was 1938. Mrs. Betty, born in 1832, was born on a plantation near Hopkinsville, Kentucky, March 25, 1932, and was one of 15 children, all of whom were born in slavery. At a dinner at which she and 2 other former slaves were guests some years ago, recounted some of her experiences as slave days. She told of being whipped by a cruel overseer and recounted tales of slavery at its worst. Coming here in 1929, they made her home with the daughter since that time, surviving her 2 daughters, Miss Elma Lee St. Louis, 2 sons, John Mount City, Illinois, and the Reverend William, Los Angeles.
It was captured here in Muncie. What's his name?
I know. That's wait a minute, I was going to show you that. That's a Methodist church right down there.
He was a notorious gangster, and they captured him here. I can't think of his name right now.